Hi, Chris.
Hi. We're going to have a conversation about the play. That's part of the format, the conversation period. So first we're going to talk a little bit about the play and particularly the writing of the play. And then we're going to talk also a little bit about Ariana's work as a poet and how the two things go together. I saw, I don't know if people here saw the original production of the play at the Foundry Theater or not. It was about 11 months ago, right? Last January?
February, yeah.
February, yeah. And they commissioned this remarkable play by you called Telephone that was staged, and the performance that we just saw, Miss S.T.'s Hieroglyphic Suffering, was the second scene of the second act of this play. The play Telephone was based, I could never imagine how you were going to pull this off, Ariana. It began as an adaptation of Avital Ronell's kind of philosophical masterwork, The Telephone Book, written in 1991. And, 452 pages of Derridian high philosophy. Among those pages, an account of Jung's analysis of Miss S.T. So I guess my first question is, in the entire Telephone Book, what drew you to this material, the Miss S.T. monologue?
My best friend and I, after we read The Telephone Book by Avital Ronell, my friend Sunder, who's here, our friendship is based on, fantasizing about writing operas together. So, I read The Telephone Book, and then I loaned it to Sunder, and he read it, and we were like, let's write an opera called Miss Saint's Hieroglyphic Suffering. It just, just like that. Then, it happened that Sunder worked at the Foundry Theater, and he and Melanie Joseph commissioned me to adapt The Telephone Book by Avital Ronell, which Miss Saint's Hieroglyphic Suffering, that's not the name of the chapter, but the chapter that Avital devotes to Miss Saint. In her work, The Telephone Book is one chapter among many in a book that kind of reads the telephone as a cipher for all of technology, and looks at Heidegger's relation to National Socialism through the sort of contaminant of technology, if you will. Right. So,
she had, Miss Babette, the original Annala Sand, believed that she had telephones implanted all over her body, right?
And also that they were around. So she suffered the slander of invisible telephones, is I think how the phrase goes in Avital's work. She also had all kinds of other voices, but this, what was interesting, I think, for the philosopher in this work was that various kinds of pathology have a relationship to technological progress, and that schizophrenia can be connected, perhaps, to the advent of the telephone. So this became important for the play Telephone, and I think early on in the process I made a diagram of the book, The Telephone Book, and there was an ear, and that was Watson. Watson, who was Alexander Graham Bell's assistant. There was a breast, and that was Bell, which may not seem immediately, might not seem like the most obvious thing, that Bell would be the breast. I mean, aside from that a bell kind of looks like a breast, I guess, Alexander Graham Bell had a kind of maternal fixation, and among his many projects was the breeding of ewes, E-W-E-S, in order to have as many nipples as possible so that they would be able to feed all of their young all at the same time, so that none of their children would ever go hungry. And there's a way that the telephone is shown to relate to the maternal, like, have you called your mother lately, or you never call, or all of those things. And then Miss Saint was the body of the book, I thought. And I was narrowing things down. There were coffins and all these different little shapes, and it became this 3-act structure: Watson and Bell, Miss Saint, and then lovers, disembodied lovers.
Right, yeah, that horribly sad thing at the end where everybody has their telephones and just talks into them.
Mm-hmm.
These horrible disembodied conversations.